He was just a cop on a routine patrol, or at least that's what everyone thought. But to her, to a 16-year-old girl standing on the sidewalk in her school uniform, he was a storm crashing down out of nowhere. The first thing she saw was the glint of a pistol, the cold black barrel aimed straight at her chest. The first thing she heard was his voice, sharp, cruel, cutting through the chatter of students outside Lincoln High. On the ground now, don't you move. For a split second, the world froze. Backpacks hung limp on kids' shoulders, sneakers scuffed against concrete, and a crowd of teenagers stared at Maya Daniels like she had suddenly become public enemy number one. She wasn't running, wasn't shouting, wasn't even moving, just standing there in her white blouse and navy skirt, her chest rising too fast, her palms already slick with sweat. The officer's name was Rick Halden. Broad shoulders, shaved, head, jaw, clenched like he was always 2 seconds away from swinging. He crouched low, spit flying with every word. Hands where I can see them. Don't you even think about playing innocent with me. Maya's knees buckled. She sank down hard onto the pavement, the grit cutting into her skin, her hands trembling as she raised them up. I didn't do anything, she stammered, her voice cracking under the weight of 100 watching eyes. Rick sneered gun inches from her collarbone. You fit the description. Black female school uniform seen running from a theft downtown. That ring a bell, the whispers started immediately hissing through the crowd like wind in dry leaves. Is she in a gang? Always so quiet. Guess we know why now. Someone even laughed and the sound burned hotter in Maya's chest than the fear. Her heart pounded so hard it felt like the barrel was tapping in time with it. She clenched her jaw. She had promised herself she wouldn't cry in front of them, not after the jokes about her hair, not after being mocked for her accent, not after years of being the odd one out. She stayed still, trembling but unbroken. Rick shoved her shoulder with the gun. Quiet. Don't make me repeat myself. Phones lit up. Dozens of screens were pointed her way now, capturing every second. And in the front row, a blonde girl crossed her arm and muttered just loud enough for Maya to hear, "Guess she's not so perfect after all." Heat crawled up Maya's face. Humiliation clawed at her throat, but beneath it there was something else, her father's voice echoing in her mind. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you stand even when they try to bury you. So she raised her chin, voice barely steady, but still alive. My name is Maya Daniels. Rick barked out a laugh, shaking his head. Daniels, huh? You think a name is going to save you? Not today. The crowd rippled, kids gasping, some whispering. Daniels, wait, like the mayor. Rick faltered for half a breath, then snarled again, louder, more desperate. Admit what you did, or I'll put you down right here. His hand trembled now, sweat slick on the handle, pride fighting with fear. Maya's eyes didn't leave his. You don't know who you're pointing that gun at, she whispered, and for the first time his jaw twitched. Phones kept rolling. The silence stretched so long it hurt. Then like thunder, a voice boomed from the parking lot. Officer Halden, drop that weapon now. Heads snapped. The crowd parted like water, and through it strode a tall man in a tailored suit, eyes blazing, flanked by security in dark coats. It was Mayor Jordan Daniels, Maya's father. Every step he took seemed to shake the pavement. He stopped only feet away, fists clenched, his voice sharp as steel. You aimed a loaded gun at my daughter, in front of her classmates, without cause. Rick's face drained white. The gun slipped lower, then clattered against the concrete. He lifted his hands like a child caught stealing candy. Mr. Mayor, I thought she was dangerous. She fit the profile. The only thing you saw, the mayor cut him off, was her skin. Gasps rippled through the students. 2 security agents moved in, snapping handcuffs on Rick before he could even form another excuse. His protests echoed uselessly. She looked guilty. She fit the description, but no one believed him anymore. Maya rose slowly, her knees raw. Her blouse still stained, her hands trembling as her father wrapped an arm around her. She didn't hide behind him, though. Her eyes locked on Rick, her voice quiet but carrying louder than any scream. You tried to strip me of my dignity, but the truth stripped you instead. The words landed like a verdict. Rick sagged against the cuffs, his career gone in an instant, his name poisoned forever. Students erupted, some cheering, some just stunned. The same classmates who once mocked her now stared in awe. A girl whispered, almost reverent, as she never even cried. The mayor turned, voice rising so every kid could hear. No student in this city will ever be treated like a criminal just because of the color of their skin. Not while I'm mayor. And in that moment, something shifted. The crowd, the city, the story, it all belonged to Maya now. That night, she sat by her window, the uniform folded on her bed, the stains still marking the blouse like a scar. Her phone buzzed, nonstop messages from friends, strangers, people she didn't know, but who had seen the video spreading like wildfire. Words of outrage, words of support, words of change. Maya typed one post, her anger shaking but her heart steady. Today I was called a threat. Tomorrow I'll be a reminder that silence can be stronger than violence. She hit send. Downstairs, her father's voice echoed through the house as he spoke to reporters. But she didn't need to hear it. She already knew what mattered. The image of her kneeling with a gun at her chest wasn't a picture of defeat anymore. It was a spark. And as she whispered to herself before sleep, she knew the truth the whole country would soon learn. They saw a suspect, but the world will remember me as a survivor. Now the question is, what do you see a mistake by one man, or proof of something deeper, something broken in the way power is used? Have you ever watched someone judge for their skin before their words? Tell me in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because stories like this, they don't just end, they keep echoing until enough voices decide to change the sound. He was just a cop on a routine patrol, or at least that's what everyone thought. But to her, to a 16-year-old girl standing on the sidewalk in her school uniform, he was a storm crashing down out of nowhere. The first thing she saw was the glint of a pistol, the cold black barrel aimed straight at her chest. The first thing she heard was his voice, sharp, cruel, cutting through the chatter of students outside Lincoln High. On the ground now, don't you move. For a split second, the world froze. Backpacks hung limp on kids' shoulders, sneakers scuffed against concrete, and a crowd of teenagers stared at Maya Daniels like she had suddenly become public enemy number one. She wasn't running, wasn't shouting, wasn't even moving, just standing there in her white blouse and navy skirt, her chest rising too fast